Yeah, yeah. But I think they were saying that UConn is just like a mini NBA team. And I guess with the new rules, there's fifth year students, so yeah. Yeah. Hi, come on in. There's room up here, or there's plenty of room if some people scooch to the right or left. Hi, Joyce. Okay, you're muted right now, but I know what you said. I could read lips.
I said, I'm waiting, I'm looking out the window, waiting for my Safe Light guy to come. So
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you have to get that replaced.
I'm here.
All right, we're just getting set up here. All right.
But just kind of stand on this end and make sure that.
But you can't, it's hard to tell. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a sense of that unless I see in the mirror. Yeah. I started doing.
Yeah, because she said you look just, you get. Yes, when you first start. Oh. You don't look like. I never really look like you. I think I probably.
No, but I'll look in here, I'll think I'm right, and I'll realize like I'm too much this way or that way, and the mirror helps you fix that.
Well, you look at it, you think it looks good, and you realize it's some. I don't have a cream top on.
All right, so everybody have a nice holiday weekend. Happy Easter to those who celebrate. Yeah, this weather is just, I always say it's drinkable. And we should stay around a little bit. I'm like, okay, when's it's gonna switch on a dime? Oh no. All right. Glad you made it. With a minute to spare. You're good. Everybody register? Everybody sign in? Oh, hi, Leo. Our two men back corners. Mm-hmm. All right. Is Joyce online? Usually there's Olivia. Joyce is waiting for somebody to replace her car windshield. So we're just going to start in a seat just for just a couple of minutes to open class, and then I'm going to bring you to your bellies. But just find a comfortable seat to be able to welcome yourself here to the mat, to tune in a little bit, and just welcome everybody to Monday morning yoga. Yeah. All right, sit up nice and tall, soften the gaze or close the eyes. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Sigh it out and bring your hands together in front of your heart, gently pressing the palms together, and start to actively press the palms together to feel an opening across the chest and heart space, and just feel an activation of the muscles that are in your chest, the elbows gently coming out to the sides as you continue to press the palms gently together. And draw the belly in, lengthen down through the low back, find a tall spine. So you feel your heart lifting, your shoulders rolling back a little bit, countering the rounding or slouching in your seat. And sitting up nice and tall as if a marionette string is attached to the top of your head, gently nudging and encouraging you to sit and lengthen through the spine. Take another inhale, deep inhale through the nose. Pause it at the top. And a slow exhale. Bring awareness to your belly. Today we're going to focus on the core, drawing strength and vitality from our core. Poses that help to strengthen our core, then help to open our hips, and also to affect our psoas muscle, to contract and lengthen our psoas muscle. Our psoas muscle is that big muscle that sits like a hammock around the pelvis and connects our spine to our legs. It's the muscle that is responsible for our fight, flight, flee mode. So helping the psoas muscle to move out of a contracted state and into a more relaxed state helps to free us of, think about it, if the psoas muscle's constricted, then our mind is a little constricted as well. So we're going to just work on bringing awareness to that area of the body by working the core today. So bring to mind something that maybe you'd like to remove as an obstacle in your life right now, that you can draw from this core strength to have the courage, the power to move past that obstacle. Set your intention to give your practice direction. Breathe in gratitude for being here today. I'm full of gratitude to be here leading this practice, to be here with you all. Take a deep breath in again, exhale it out, and we'll Om on the next exhale. And release that pressing of the hands. Hands come down to your thighs. And just let that settle for a few moments. As you inhale and exhale, maybe feeling those muscles in the chest now relax to a natural state, and maybe just feeling a slight shift in the openness of those muscles. And then start to flicker the eyes open, and we're going to make our way to our belly. Welcome those who have joined us online. We're going to come to crocodile pose, bringing awareness to our belly with our breath in this pose. So you can start in hands and knees and then slowly lower. Take your legs apart so your toes are pointing to the far corners of your mat. And you can stay with the tops of your feet on the mat, or you can try turning toes out so the inside ankles fall toward the mat. And we want maybe a little lift in the head. So why don't you start by crossing the forearms on top of each other. So then the forehead, check it out, see how that feels resting the forehead on the stacked forearms. If that feels a little too high for you, if you can't quite get comfortable there, you could slide your elbows out to the sides a little bit so that the hands stack and you're resting the forehead on the backs of the hands. And see how that feels and find that comfortable sweet spot where you can stay in crocodile pose. And let the breath flow naturally. Start to bring awareness to where you feel the breath the most. So to start, that might be in the belly as the belly presses against the floor. And then maybe feel the breath travel to the back. So this pose is a great way to relieve tension from the back area, middle back, low back. With the legs at a comfortable distance apart, it helps that low back to unclench, ungrip. Feeling a release maybe in the neck. So continue to breathe here. I'm going to share a little story from the Myths of the Asanas book about one of our poses that works the core, which is boat pose, Navasana. Navasana is a core strengthening posture that draws from balancing and stability. And the metaphorical meaning of the pose connects with the sacred rivers in India. So apart from the invaluable water they provide in India, they are regarded by the sages as metaphors of samsara, the cycle of repeated births and deaths. And on the distant shore, liberation is waiting for those who are able to cross its turbulent waters with the ship of yoga. Where there are rivers, there are also boats and crossing places to assist travelers on their journeys. In Sanskrit, they are called tirthas. A tirtha can be described as a sacred place where the divine touches the earth. So as it relates to this pose, contemplating the metaphor of the boat as a vehicle for our journey. First, to arrive at our destination, we need to lift the anchor. Otherwise, all of our rowing effort won't bring us anywhere. Thinking about this as it relates to your yoga practice, lifting the anchor means to raise our awareness and be mindful, truly mindful of what we are doing. Hence, setting an intention for our practice helps to give us direction. An absent-minded practice may have some effect on a physical level, but in yoga, we're seeking to transform more than the physical. We're trying to tap into our unconscious patterns. And that requires steady attention and focus. In addition to the anchor, second, we need a good captain on our boat who knows the treacherous currents and can guide us safely across. And this is where a guru or teacher or therapist can come in to help us navigate choppy waters. The danger comes when we fail to get all the way across but never exit the boat. The purpose of the boat is to get from one side to the other, not to stay in the boat forever. So in terms of the work, the help from a counselor or a mentor or teacher, we serve ourselves and their mission by transcending the challenges they help us overcome to get to the other side safely and to be able to get out of the boat. So boat pose today, when we practice it, thinking about it as an opportunity to remind yourself to lift the anchor, attune to the universal current, and be open for guidance so you can safely cross any turbulent waters and find a deeper connection with self-realization. So a couple more breaths here to just really feel the activation of your solar plexus, the energy center behind the navel, strengthening our diaphragm, massaging our digestive system. Couple more breaths. Noticing anywhere else that you might be gripping or trying to hold yourself up here, and just use this last breath to fully release into the support beneath you. And then slowly we'll begin to make our way onto our back. So just slide the hands under the shoulders and then drop to one elbow and one forearm to roll yourself over onto the back. Doesn't matter which direction the head's in. Let the back come in full contact with the mat. Inhale, flip the arms overhead and point your toes. And exhale, arms alongside and draw the toes toward you, pushing through the heels. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, arms alongside, drawing those toes toward you, pushing through the heels. And then see if you can reach for your blocks. And let's take the blocks in our hands. So turn your palms up and have your blocks in your hands to add a little bit of weight here, a little bit of resistance as we take the blocks overhead. And then with the palms holding the blocks, inhale, take them overhead. So you're placing the blocks down onto the floor. And then exhale, bring them back. Inhale, take them overhead. And exhale, dropping them alongside. Inhale, take them overhead. And exhale, lowering them down. One more time, inhale, taking them overhead. Let them drop down to the floor, so they should be at the middle height. And then turn the palms to face up, so the backs of your hands are just resting on the blocks. A little bit of height there, and then we're gonna slide those heels in, so we're drawing our knees into our chest. And then extend your left leg out onto the mat. Keep your arms overhead, resting on the blocks. Keep your left leg about an inch off the mat. And then we're going to switch. Inhale, left leg, draw it in. Extend right leg out long, an inch, keeping it an inch off the mat. Inhale, right knee into the chest. Extend left leg. Inhale, switching. On the inhale, exhale as you extend right leg out. Keeping the legs an inch off the mat. A few more breaths in and out, switching the legs as you inhale and exhale. Arms are still overhead, supported by the blocks. Notice, bring awareness to the belly as you move through this, noticing which muscles are working. See if you can really engage the lowest abdominal muscles, those transverse, transverse, I think, abdominal muscles. And then hug knees into the chest, wrap your arms around the legs, lift your forehead to meet your knees. Breathe in to that cervical spine. A little crunch here for the abdominal muscles. And then lower the head down, drop the feet to the mat. Heel toe your feet as wide as the mat. We're just going to windshield wiper the knees over to the right as we float the arms overhead, touching those blocks again. Take a breath here, feeling that left hip lifting up as the right leg is dropping down to the floor. Feet are flexed. Breathe in and out. Feeling a long stretch on this left side. And then inhale, arms alongside as the knees come to center, and then you're going to drop the knees over to the left. That right knee coming inside the left sole of the foot. Inhale, arms overhead. So they're resting on the blocks. Breathe in, feeling that right hip lifting up a little bit as you try and draw that right knee down to the earth. Big stretch for this right side. One more inhale. Next exhale, drop the arms alongside. Windshield wiper the knees back to center. Heel toe your feet back in. And then extend your legs straight out. So coming into now a low boat pose. We're going to first lift the chin. So lift the chin to the chest. And just already here, notice that your lowest abdominal muscles are working. Flex the feet. And now maybe lift up a little bit higher, shoulders are lifting, and bring the arms out to the side. Palms facing each other. So you might stay here or maybe lift the heels off the floor a couple inches. And try not to hold your breath, but breathing in, breathing out. See if you can release tension in the neck. As you're looking, keep your eyes on your toes. One more inhale, and then exhale, lower down. Lift your chin to your chest again. This time, just lift your left foot off the mat. Take a look at your hips. See if you lost the hip alignment. See if you can level out your hips with that left leg lifted. And then drop it down. Keep looking at your big toes. Lift the right leg an inch off the mat. And lower it down to lift the left leg. And lower it down. Lift the right. And lower it down. And then put your hands on your hips. So fingers on the hips, find those hip points. Now lift your left leg. And lower it down. Lift the right leg. Lower it down. Notice if your hips are staying level or if you need to help align them better. One more time, lift the right and then lower the head down. Hug knees into your chest, extend your legs up to the sky. We're going to slowly lower one leg and then the other, and then lift one leg and then lift the other. So again, big activity for the core. So stay here with the legs facing up to the sky. Take an inhale. Draw your shoulders, your whole back toward the mat. And then on your next exhale, slowly lower your right leg down and don't let it touch. Have it come to an inch off the mat. And then lower the left leg. Lift the right leg up. Lift the left leg up. Lower right leg. Lower left. Inhale, right leg up. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, right leg down. Then left. Inhale, right leg up. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, right leg down. Then the left. Inhale, right leg up. Inhale, left, hug knees into chest. Rock from side to side. Let that out. And now we're going to come into a spinal twist. So extend your left leg out long onto the mat. We're going to guide this right knee over to the left side, rolling onto the left side of our body. Take that right knee only as far as what's comfortable, where you can still try and keep the right shoulder in contact with the mat. You're going to extend your right arm out, straight out from the shoulder. Left hand stays on top of that right knee, helping to guide it down, maybe one breath at a time. It starts to lower toward the floor. You can always slide a block under there if you want. And that left side of the body just goes soft. No effort in that left side. Breathe in. Breathe out. That right palm is flipped up to help externally rotate. So hopefully when you flip it up, you felt a little external rotation in that shoulder. And try not to have that right arm too high. You don't want it higher than the shoulder. You want it straight out from the shoulder. Beautiful, everyone. One more breath in, really noticing the sensations here in the thoracic spine. Inhale, come back to center. Draw the left knee into the chest. Extend your right leg out long. And just adjust so your spine is in neutral. And then start guiding that left knee over to the right, rolling onto the right side of the body. And again, just go as far, as soon as you feel that left shoulder popping up, stop where you are, extend your left arm out, find where you can kind of glide that left shoulder blade under. And then with each breath, try and take that left knee down toward the floor. One breath at a time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel a nice extension in that left arm, the palm facing up, so that left shoulder helping externally rotate it. One more breath in. Exhale it out. Now we're rolling onto our back, hugging the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And then extend the legs up to the sky and take the legs out to wide-legged, just a V shape. We're just going to do our eagle legs here, where we inhale the legs back together, cross your right knee in front of your leg. Squeeze the thighs together as you bend the knees, keep the feet flexed. And then inhale, open back to that V. Exhale the breath out. Inhale the legs back together, crossing left knee in front of right. Squeeze your thighs, bend your knees, keep your feet flexed. Inhale back to that wide V as you then exhale. One more time each way. So bring the legs back together, cross right knee in front of left. Squeeze the thighs. Inhale to a V. Exhale the breath out. Next inhale, bring them back together, cross left knee in front of right, and squeeze those thighs where you feel some kind of effect happening in your hip flexors. And then back to the V. And then Bend the knees. Coming into happy baby, wrap your hands around your calves. Elbows come to the inside of your knees. Flex your feet so the soles of the feet are facing the sky, and draw the knees down toward the earth. Really feel the whole back in contact with the mat. So the low back shouldn't be rounded up. Rock from side to side if you want, maybe going all the way to where your toe touches the floor, and then use your abdominal muscles to bring you back through center and over to the other side. One more time, rocking from side to side. And then we'll come back to center, hug the knees into the chest. We're gonna rock up to a seat. We're gonna rock up to balancing on our sits bones with our feet lifted off the mat. So start to rock forward and back. If you're not facing the front of the room, you can add a turn in your rocking. So get that massage for your spine here. Get enough momentum where when you come up on your sits bones, keep your feet lifted, chest lifting, stay here. So we're gonna do boat pose 3 times. We're just gonna be here for the first one. So I want you to notice that balancing on the sits bones. And then with the elbows out to the side, your fingertips underneath the knees. Now, instead of here, where you're caving in, lift the chest. Lengthen through the spine. Working those abdominal muscles as you're leaning back a little bit. One more breath in, and then exhale, feet down to the mat, as wide as your mat. Bring the hands in front and bring your chest through the knees and lengthen up. A slight tilting of the tailbone, and then exhale, round the spine, tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, back to seated cow. And exhale into seated cat pose. And then come back to neutral. So you're on your sits bones, sitting up nice and tall, heel toe your feet back. So they're hip distance apart. You've got about a fist distance between your feet. So coming back into boat. So now bring the hands in front of your knees and pull your chest, pull your belly toward your thighs. So your chest is lifting. And now lean back. Lean back to that point. So don't cave in, but lean back to where you feel that engagement in the belly. As soon as you feel that engagement, now float the legs off. Maybe the hands stay underneath the knees for support, or maybe now you float the arms. Knees can still be bent, and let's row our boat. We interlace the fingers, row to the left, row to the right. That metaphor, you're rowing to the other side of the shore. Those turbulent waters, how are you going to face those? With courage, breathe in courage and gratitude. One more time, row to the right, drop the feet. Inhale, seated cow, lift that chest, lengthen the spine, and exhale, seated cat. All good things come in threes, you know. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, seated cat. Bring those feet a little closer together, fist distance apart. Remember, start here, hands in front, so you can bring your belly and your chest forward. Lift the chest, and now start to lean back. You feel balance on your sits bones, the chest lifted, spine long. Then float the arms, float the legs. Now maybe straighten the legs. We're not going to row. Just really feel, I want you to feel that chest lifting and that you're balanced on the sits bones, and you can support it. You don't have to come into full boat. Beautiful, everyone. Gorgeous. Lift that chest. Feel that strength. Maybe the chest or the chin lifts a little bit. You're gazing up. Breathing through those obstacles. Think about a teacher or a mentor that's helping to guide you across to shore, and then drop the feet off. Cross at your ankles, roll forward to tabletop, and we'll work that all out with traditional cow and cat. So come to hands and knees. Knees are under your hips. Stack shoulders, wrists, elbows. Inhale into cow pose. And exhale into cat. So keeping consciously thinking about the abdominal muscles here. So when you come into cow pose, the belly drops, but not sagging. And then on the exhale, you come into cat, really drawing the navel in toward the spine. So try not to bend at the elbows here. Getting that tilting of the pelvis. Couple more rounds, really feeling your breath moving you in and out of the pose. Nice job. Massaging the spine, releasing tension. And come to neutral. Extend a right leg back. We're going to find spinal balance. So lift that right leg so your hips are level. And then inhale, left arm up by the ear. Find length by pushing through the right heel, reaching through the left fingertips. Inhale and exhale, elbow to knee. Engagement in the core. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen, drop left hand down, cross right leg behind you. Let's open up this right side. So stay where you're hollowing out in the chest and your shoulders are equal. They're squared forward. Your right toe is down on the floor. Then you can start to add turning the head to look over the left shoulder, but you don't want that right shoulder to drop in. So keep your shoulders squared and opening up this right side. You can get a little extra for your left foot with that foot totally flexed, working the arch with that toe on the floor. One more breath in and out, and then bring that right knee back to tabletop. Other side, extend left leg back and lift that left leg up. Again, balance, stabilize the hips, the sacrum, float that right arm up. Pushing through the left heel, reach through right fingertips. Inhale to lengthen. Keep that belly engaged as you bring elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen, drop right hand down, cross that left leg behind you. So squaring the shoulders, kind of hollow out in the chest. Keep the core engaged. Look over your right shoulder. Really feeling the length from that hip flexor up through the rib cage on that left side. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more breath in. And out. Inhale. Left knee back, and then separate your knees as wide as your mat. Bring your toes to touch and push back to wide-legged child's pose, walking those hands out a little further in front of you to make some space for the chest, for the heart to melt toward the earth. Forehead coming to the mat or a block. Breathe in. Breathe out. See if you can sink a little bit deeper, that seat moving towards your heels. Breathe in. Breathe out. Really feeling the breath fill up your rib cage, expand your rib cage. Feel it flare out to the sides. Releasing tension from the back. Next inhale, we'll lift back up to tabletop. And then we're gonna lower down to our forearms. So a beautiful practice for our core strength is forearm plank and then side plank, which we're gonna do in a supported way. So bring your forearms down and then wrap your fingers around your elbows to make sure that they're not flaring out to the sides, and then bring your hands back and interlace your fingers. And then tuck your toes under and lift your knees off the mat, creating a straight line where your chest is right over that space between your forearms. And you feel that line of energy from your heels out through the crown of your head. Not holding your breath. One more inhale. And then exhale, lower down the hips, the thighs, and just take a rest here. Stack your hands, rest your forehead on the backs of your hands for a couple of breaths. Full breath in. Full breath out. Next, inhale, begin to lift yourself back up. So coming back to forearms. So come up on your knees for a moment, back to tabletop, but forearms. And then for supported side plank, we're gonna turn our left arm. So the hand comes in on an angle, and then bring your right hand. So you're shifting to the side. Your elbow is under your shoulder and you're stacking the legs. Maybe the right arm lifts up or the right hand can stay on the mat. And just lifting those hips off the mat, try and stack your feet, stack your legs. And then a lot of weight's gonna be in that left shoulder. You wanna try and reach across, try not to dump weight into it, but just use the strength. Beautiful. And try and draw the belly in so your butt's not sticking out in the back. And lower down. Rocking onto the belly. Bring the hands to stack. Take a rest. Really feel the breath, the belly pressing into the floor. Preparing for the other side. So lift back to forearms, lift up to your knees, and then bring this right hand in on an angle so that you're then going to rotate. Use your left hand to stabilize yourself as you stack your legs, your shoulder over your elbow, and then maybe that left arm lifts up. Draw the belly in so your butt's not sticking back. Beautiful, everyone. Try and lift that left hip a little higher, lower down, and then roll onto your belly again and stack the hands. This time, rock the hips from side to side, or maybe bend the knees and windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Nice job, everyone. and slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Press yourself up to tabletop. Transitioning into downward dog, tuck your toes under and lift your knees and shins, and then push back into a squat. Straighten the legs so the hips lift up toward the sky, bringing you into downward dog. And just take a few breaths to pedal out your downward dog. Find some movement here. We're going to work in downward dog a little bit to engage our deep abdominal muscles. So if you feel like you need to put blocks under your hands to be in downward dog, go ahead and make that adjustment right now. So go ahead and find stillness in your downward dog. And we're going to lift the right leg up on your next inhale, but I want you to level out your hip points. So flex your right foot, so your toes are pointing to the floor. And then if you feel your right hip is higher than your left, draw it down to level your hip points. And then bend your left knee a little bit to help get a forward tilt of the pelvis. And then maybe, so don't come into a plank. So down, see how you rock forward and you're lower. Yeah, so stay in downward dog. Keep that hip level. Bend your left knee just a little bit, but keep pushing back. So don't rock the body forward. So the hips are still lifting up toward the sky. Rocking forward, you want to stay in downward dog. One more breath in, forearm dolphin pose is a good modification too. One more breath, really feel which abdominal muscles are working here, and then lower that leg down, come down to child's pose, take a few breaths. Just listening to my voice for a few moments. When we're in downward dog, we've got one leg lifted, bending the other to just get a little bit of a tilt of the pelvis. We can engage those core muscles to help our hips staying lifted toward the sky. One more breath in and out. And then inhale, rocking back up to tabletop, tuck your toes under, lift up to downward dog. So find your downward dog. Find that full extension in the arms, the spine. When you feel set here, balance on your right. Start to lift your left leg, just to the point where your hips are level. Keep pushing back so you get that extension in the arms and spine. Then just a slight bend in the right knee. Push through the left heel. Engage in those deep abdominal muscles. Maybe with the hips level, maybe start to lift that left leg a little higher. One more breath in. Good, 5 breaths here. And lower down. Downward facing dog. Rock forward to plank. And then lower the knees down. Let's lower our bellies. Hug those elbows in, lowering down to the mat. Inhale into cobra. And exhale, tuck toes under. Push your seat to your heels. Lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts up again, just hip height. Then draw that knee into your chest. Hug it in, step that right foot forward. So keep your left heel lifted. Balance on your right foot and start to lift up. Lift the upper body. Come all the way up to high lunge. So settle in here where you're stacking shoulders with your hips. Bend into this right knee a little bit. From here, hands to hips, we're gonna lower the left knee down toward the mat, but not let it touch. And then inhale, straighten that left leg. Exhale, lower left knee toward the mat. Press back up. Keep going. Give me 3 more if you can. So really, when you come back up, straighten that left leg. That left knee is bending down toward the mat. So we're really getting a lot of strength here from our psoas muscle, our glutes, our inner thighs, all working here. One more. And flip the hands down, step back to plank. Drop the knees, lower the upper body down to the floor. Inhale into cobra. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes under, push your seat to your heels, and let's float up into downward dog. Other side, lift left leg, hip height. Use your abdominal muscles, draw that left knee in, step the left foot down. Keep your right heel lifted. Balance on the left foot as you lift up. Lift up, 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 up. High lunge. You might need to adjust where you feel like you can bend into this left knee. Your right toes are on the mat, right heel lifted. Hands to hips. Keep your shoulders stacked with your hips. Start to lower, dropping right knee to the mat. Inhale, straighten that right leg. Exhale, right knee, dropping it down. And straighten that right leg. Drop right knee down. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, drop the right knee. And straighten. One more time. And straighten. Good job. Hands to mat. Take that left leg back. Knees drop. Lower the body to the mat. And then we're going to find our way into Sphinx pose. So bring those forearms in front of you. Again, check the distance between your elbows. Wrap your fingers around the elbows to make sure they're not flaring out to the sides, and then bring forearms down. Your elbow creases should be in front of your shoulders a little bit. So it should look like this. So Rose, bring them forward. Bring them forward a little bit more. Hug the elbows in a little bit more. Yeah, your fingers should fully wrap around your elbows. So if they're not, then you got to bring your elbows in a little closer. Yeah. And then forearms come down. Hands come down. Legs are a comfortable distance apart, tops to the feet on the mat. And then really think about tilting your pelvis toward the mat. So then that motion helps the spine to lengthen and your chest and heart opens and lifts. So Mandy, try and lift your chest. Yeah. So the gaze is looking just beyond your fingertips. Or maybe the eyes are closed. And just inhaling, feeling that lengthening up through the spine. Shoulders are away from the ears, but the chest is lifting. If you're feeling any clenching or pinching in the low back, turn that pubic bone toward the mat just a little bit more. One more breath in. And exhale, lower down. Taking a pillow for your forehead, bend the knees and rock from side to side. And then lowering the legs, we're gonna roll onto our backs and grab a block so that we can do bridge pose. We're gonna do 2 bridge poses with the block in between our thighs, and then we're gonna shift the block underneath our sacrum for supported bridge. So find your alignment here where you're walking the feet back toward your sits bones. So when you reach your arms out, see if you can just graze the back of your heels, and then let the arms come down. The block is in between your thighs, not your knees. Turn your toes in toward each other just a little bit to where you feel pigeon-toed. We want our feet aligned with our knees and our hips. And then on your next inhale, press into your feet, lift the hips up toward the sky, squeeze the thighs into the block so you feel engagement in the glutes. Your gaze is looking up at the ceiling and you're trying to bring your chest towards your chin. And try and breathe in and out through your nose. Try not to turn your head and bridge to protect your neck. Feel that spinal extension. This next inhale, see if you can lift the hips just a little bit more, and then exhale, lower 1 vertebrae at a time. And take a breath when you land. And then on your next inhale, lift back up into bridge, 5 breaths. Next exhale, lower 1 vertebrae at a time. And then take your block, and depending on how high you lift it off the mat, either slide the block at the lowest height underneath the sacrum, the bony part of your low back, or for some of you, you might turn it to the middle height and have that long edge of the block going across your low back, across your sacrum. Feet are in the same position. Mary, turn your toes in toward each other. There you go. And just let the arms come out to the sides, palms face down or up, not shoulder height, about halfway between your shoulders and your mat. And allow your low back to surrender to the block. And notice here the sensations of letting yourself ungrip a little bit and let yourself, your body weight surrender into the block. Surrender a little bit more. One more breath in. And out. And now I want to really lengthen the front of the body. So for those who have the block at the middle height, I want you to go ahead and flip it down to the lowest. And those who had it at the lowest, just stay there. And then we're all going to straighten one leg out at a time. So let yourself be here for a couple of breaths. So the heels are resting on the mat. So lower the legs, Satish. Lower down, yeah. And then maybe flip the arms overhead to really lengthen the whole front side of the body. And we're also now really stretching the psoas muscle. If that's not comfortable with the arms overhead, bring them back alongside. But really opening up the front of the body, all of that contracting we did, all the work we did for our abdominal muscles, really feel them lengthen here. One more breath. Feel your body weight surrender into the block just a little bit more on this next exhale. And then lower the arms alongside the body, walk the feet in so you can press into the feet and lift up off the block and lower back down. Heel toe your feet as wide as your mat and put a little bit more distance between your heels and your sits bones. Bring your hands to your belly and then let your thighs and knees fall together. Coming into constructive rest, to invite in a softening here of the belly and the inner groin muscles. Letting this whole area of the body that we worked today to soften and rest. So even notice the softening happening under your fingers. So anything that might have resembled choppy waters today for you, any resistance to that strong core work that we did. Use your breath to release that anchor, lift the anchor, and raise your awareness. Maybe bring into mind a teacher or a mentor or a great friend that helps you difficult times. Person who helps to guide you safely across those turbulent waters. Allowing your breath to lengthen as you inhale and exhale. Count all the ways you're beautiful. Your soul and your spirit, your plant body, and all the wonder within it. Your heart full of love. Your mind full of care. Your eyes full of awe. Your lungs full of air. Your chest full of pride. Your muscles full of strength. demonstrated by today's practice. Your brain full of questions, your compassion immense. Your hands that can comfort, your words that can soothe. Your conscience that roots you in the good, right, and true. You are a miracle, unique through and through. So count the ways you're beautiful and always be proud of you. By Ms. Moran. And I said to my body softly, I want to be your friend. It took a long breath and replied, I've been waiting my whole life for this. By Nayira Wahid. So as you start to deepen your breath here, say to your body softly, I want to be your friend, and feel the long breath and its response to you. Feel your abdomen rise and fall as you deepen your breath. And then wiggle your toes, straighten your legs, wiggle your toes, circle your ankles. Wiggle your fingers, circle your wrists. Maybe inhale the arms overhead, taking a long stretch. Hugging knees into the chest, rolling to your right side to help awaken you, enliven you as the energy flows down from the heart into the body. And then making your way up to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed, you're at a soft gaze. Bring your hands to your heart center and a soft bow of the head toward your heart. Take a moment to thank yourself for being here, breathing in gratitude and joy for how this practice helps move you through each day. Acknowledging maybe what resonated with you during your practice today. I am filled with gratitude to lead you all in this practice, to be with you here in this space. And let's seal the practice with the sound of Om. Take an inhale and empty the breath out. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Namaste. You all a beautiful day. Thank you, friends. Joyce, you made it all the way through. Thanks so much for our friends at home. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I'll be here for intermediate yoga at 9:30, Wednesday yoga and meditation at 1:30. Oh, no. In a good way, I hope. Did you go back to?
I'm Canadian, that's the Ontario, just southwest of Toronto.
Okay. Yeah, bunch of Canadians in here, yeah.
Picture what it was. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a beautiful area. Yeah. Oh, I know, I love it. I throw their love to my kids. They're small, because the beach is so nice. Yeah, no, that's a nice area.
Wanna join us?
Oh, yeah, no, I was thinking electronic.
So,
Yeah, I'll try and do it, but.
Good, well, safe travels home, and it's been wonderful having you here.
Well, I noticed a lot of people, like, when they're walking.
Yes.
Like, moving forward, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
over exaggerating.
Yeah, yeah.